What's up, Multiverse? Dr. Dave here. Welcome to the Geek Lounge. So we are a week removed from Comic Con Liverpool, where, as always, I had an awesome time, and I wanted to share with you guys my signed Funko Pop haul, as well as discussing my interactions with the guests. And we're going to kick things off with the headliner, the main event, the Never Seen 17 Last Real World Champion, John Cena. I actually got two variants signed, the John Cena Farewell Funko from the WWE line, and a Peacemaker variant from the TV series. And I mean, what can I say about John that hasn't already been said on social media? Literally every single comment I've seen, like, I'm sure there are negative ones, nothing's ever 100% positive in this world anymore, but yeah, I don't think I've come across any negative comments about people meeting John at Comic Con Liverpool. He was so awesome. What I saw with my own eyes, you know, people in front of me, kids, he was taking time with them, even though that time was kind of limited, right? It always is with the bigger headline guests. He was just awesome. When I got to him, you know, he looked me in the eye, he extended his hand without me doing anything to shake it, you know, firm, real kind of man's man handshake. Bigger, like, he's so big in person as well, you know, you see him on the screen with other kind of bigger wrestlers, and so sometimes you're like, how big is he? And then you see him in real life, he's really big, so then you're like, how big are those other wrestlers? Like Big Show, for instance, right? But yeah, shook my hand, looked me in the eye, say, hey, I'm John, nice to meet you, what's your name? You know, asked me my name. And in just my limited time while he was signing, I said, I wanted to take a real quick moment just to thank you for everything you've done in wrestling. And, you know, he looked up, he kind of like looks you in the eyes when he talks and was like, I really appreciate you saying that, thank you so much. He extended his hand out to my brother, who was kind of like behind me. He wasn't getting anything signed, but they did allow him to come in, which I thought was really cool. And he was like, you know, thank you guys for coming. So yeah, just a real gentleman, to be honest. Just comes across as a real genuine nice guy. Of course, there's things you never know what goes on behind the scenes, I suppose, right? But my interaction with him, I couldn't say any more. You know, that whole kind of hustle, loyalty, respect gimmick or whatever. It's not really a gimmick, is it? But that thing that he had with John Cena as the character within wrestling, I actually think he really embodies as John Cena the person as well. And yeah, I guess I'm just really repeating myself here. Awesome dude. Was happy to meet him. Love having these two signed now into the collection. And that wasn't the only Peacemaker Funko Pop we got signed at the event, because Freddie Stromer, who plays Vigilante, was there as well. So I got my Vigilante Funko Pop signed. I actually did get a quote, "There's no wrong time to rock." Yeah, Freddie was really cool. He was actually the first guest we went to on the Saturday. I kind of always try and time my guests, you know, depending on what they've got with like photo shoots. I mean, everyone does that, right? That's what scheduling's all about. But yeah, look at photo ops, auto times, who may be busier, who's better to go to. You know, there's all this kind of little thing that I look at to determine, and I decided to go with Freddie Stromer in the morning. Yeah, awesome dude, very kind of chatty, very happy to kind of do quotes, pen color changes, no kind of upcharging for Funkos or quotes or anything like that, which is always really welcome, because stuff is starting to get, you know, very, very expensive now with meeting guests and getting stuff signed, especially when it is Funkos and other collectibles. But yeah, he was just really nice. I actually haven't seen season 2 yet, and he mentioned he actually didn't have as big a role in season 2, because I was like, you had so many cool lines in season 1 that I was like, I don't really know which one to go for, and I always liked the I can't remember the line verbatim. It's something like, you know, we only kill bad guys usually, and we kind of shared a laugh with that. And he said he always liked the chainsaw one, which is, I think it's I can't hear you, it's so like effing loud, something along those lines. But yeah, Freddie was really, really cool. The only one thing I kind of wish, because he kind of said, do you want like the character name as well? Maybe I'd gone with like the orange here, would have kind of completed the color spectrum to an extent. But otherwise, yeah, really happy again to have this into the collection. Definitely want to get some more Peacemaker signed. Next up for my Harry Potter collection, we do have Tom Riddle here, signed by Christian Coulson. Another really, really lovely guy. Happy to do quotes, pen color changes. You know, he had no problem with that. And again, no upcharging. So as I said before, that's always very, very welcome. I went with the famous quote. I don't think Tom Riddle has a more famous quote, right? Voldemort is my past, present and future. And I'm actually quite happy with how the colours came out here, because we have the Woot box exclusive here where the it's more like that kind of sepia colour scheme, if you guys can make him out there in the box. And I actually felt the pen colours pretty much match the sticker, right? I think I got that like pretty well. Speaking of which, this is a new pen that I'm trying, Deco Color paint pens. This was teal, if I'm not mistaken, and this was like the regular Sharpie oil-based paint pen that I typically use. Speaking of which, guys, I did do a full-on tutorial. I feel it's really the definitive video, at least that I've seen on YouTube. I know loads of people have done them, but I kind of feel I covered so much in that video. I'm quite proud of it, you know, for getting your Funko Pop sign, taking them to Comic Con. You know, it's not just what pens to use, but, you know, how to prep them. You know, I went into detail with water-based versus oil-based. There's just loads of information in there. Like I said, I'm quite proud of the video, and I feel there's been a pretty good kind of response to it as well. But if you wanted to check it out, there is a link to it, you know, if you are getting your Funko Pop signed. And I was super duper happy to finally get my first two Baldur's Gate Funko Pop signed. We have Lae'zel signed by her voice actor Deborah Wild, and we have Karlach signed by her voice actor Samantha Bayard. Both of these ladies are absolutely lovely, so chatty, so smiley, jokey, you know. They couldn't be two nicer ladies to meet. I'll actually be meeting the gentleman next weekend at MCM Comic Con Birmingham. I'll be getting a Starion signed by Neil Newbon, who was supposed to be at Comic Con Liverpool, but he unfortunately had to cancel with the storms. I think a family member of his was sick as well. He did like a whole nice video on it. And then Tim Downey is also there, who voices Gale. Unfortunately, I am only attending on the Friday because then they do have a bunch of other guests on the Saturday. I know Jennifer English is there. Fresh off her Golden Joystick Victory award for Best Lead in Claire Obscure Expedition 33, which I'm currently playing right now, thoroughly enjoying it. Really hope they make Funko Pops for that. But we're getting back to Baldur's Gate, especially with the two guests here, the two lovely ladies that we met. Yeah, Deborah was awesome. I went with the quote, "I have not sinned against Flackith, she has sinned against me." I kind of spoke to her and said, it's always one of those things. Do you go kind of like badass? Do you go funny? Because Lae'zel to me she was kind of funny in a different way compared to some of the other characters, but she kind of had a few sort of badass lines as well, and I feel this was one of them, and she was like happy to do it. She was wondering where people were getting their Lae'zel pops from because they haven't officially released it, at least not here in the UK. I don't know about the US. I actually got mine from Pop Culture in Australia. I know my good friend Dan at Persona Toys, who was there, he'd managed to get, I think it was like 18 of them in. So yeah, she was kind of just a bit surprised that everyone had them. And yeah, she even spoke about the she kind of knew kind of because I had my pens, I had everything kind of prepared with my quotes and stuff. She was like, "You're a veteran," and I said, "Yeah, I got about 200 signed pops." And she was like, "Wow, yeah, just really lovely to talk to." And I even mentioned saying here, I wish I'd actually got there's a pen that's either khaki green or maybe olive green, something like that, that would have gone better with the Lae'zel skin color. And I was like, I wish I kind of had it, but I just didn't. You know, sort it out in time. And she was like, "Oh yeah, that would have been pretty cool." But I feel like one day, because she is actually going to be at MCM Birmingham next weekend as well, but I feel if I ever got that pen in, you do the little trick, again, something I covered in that video I just mentioned, where you use hand sanitizer. That gets rid of paint pen really, really easily. I'm sure she would re-sign it, you know, with that other green. And then Samantha equally was so lovely, fun to chat with. You know, the odd thing, these two ladies also spoke a lot about the like my pens and stuff. So Samantha wanted to like actually nick my red paint pen. She said it like came out really, really cool. And she asked, like, "Can I take a picture of it? I need my agent to kind of sort me out on this." And I gave her like a few places in the UK you can get them from. And then she like kind of tried to keep it at the end, and she's like, "Darn it, I wish I thought I'd got away with it." And I was like, "Oh, come on, I told you they're quite expensive." But I then went back because I actually had a spare red one, and I gave it to her, but I had to kind of hand it over to the handler because she was already busy with with the next attendee. So I hope it made her day anyway. But yeah, I went with a quote: "This better be violent, sexy, or both," which I think is a classic one. Karlach had so many great lines, you know, "Stick with Mama K," the end one, "I'm now back, effers." I can't really remember the quotes verbatim, but I thought this one kind of fit pretty well. And yeah, I'm really happy with how these came out, and very much looking forward to get more Baldur's Gate signed ones into the collection. And just like Baldur's Gate, I'm happy to finally have my first 2 signed 100 Funko Pops here, Bellamy and Clark. Bellamy signed by Bob Morley, Clark signed by Eliza Taylor, who are husband and wife in real life. Yeah, what a pleasure to speak with these two. So lovely. Came all the way from Australia. We'll start with Bob because I met him first. Got the quote, "My sister, my responsibility," his typical line. Again, these guys did quotes. I didn't mention for the Baldur's Gate. They kind of upcharge, you know, for Funkos and for quotes, but a lot of voice actors do, because voice actors don't typically make as much money, right? But these guys, no upcharge, were happy to do the quotes. Yeah, just as I said, lovely people. Bob was really nice chatting to, actually, because I asked him, I kind of said selfishly, I would have loved Bob to go out with a, you know, with a bang, you know, like a more heroic death. I just realised I kind of spoiled the show, so I do apologise if no one's seen it. But yeah, I would have liked him to have a more heroic death. But on the same hand, I was like, you know, Bellamy was kind of correct with everything he said, and he actually went into this kind of full-on kind of conversation about, when you look at the show through Bellamy's eyes, everything he did was, you know, from his viewpoint was correct. And if you take stuff from the viewpoint of what you may typically see in a society, Bellamy was correct. And he said, when you look at the show from Clark's eyes, of course, some of the things Bellamy did was bad, and it wasn't, you know, the right thing to do. But then there's the argument, was the way Clark handled things the right thing to do? And in the end, he actually said that that Eliza, like, he felt sorry for Eliza, because he felt the way the show ended is not what Clark would have done at all. And I didn't actually speak to Eliza sort of per se about that, but it was just really interesting, you know, talking to Bob. I could have had like a full 30-odd minute conversation with him, talking about his character and how things went. But of course, you have to be kind and considerate to people waiting in behind you in the line as well. Yeah, they both have pretty big lines. I did mention as well that I didn't mind the show after season 5, where they kind of head into space, but I was like, I feel it lost like a little bit of juice. And he was like, he hasn't even seen season 6 or 7, and so he kind of agrees with that. And then yeah, Eliza, his lovely wife, super kind, super nice. You know, when we were going up into her, or queuing up for her, I should say, the like 5, 6, 7 people in front of us, she was having to get up every second because everyone was getting a selfie, and it's not something I typically pay for. The odd 1 or 2 I've done over time, but things just get really expensive when you start adding selfies and photos and things into the mix. But yeah, she had to get up like every few seconds to come out from behind the table. But yeah, super nice, super kind. She asked me exactly, you know, do you want the signature first character name? Do you want the quote? Where should I put everything? You know, she was very kind of considerate with that. I think because, you know, she sort of mentioned, I know some people can be quite particular with getting Funko signed. The one thing I kind of asked her about was how excited she was to kind of get to change things up when she played Josephine in I think it was the 6th season, wasn't it? And she said it was awesome because she felt for those first 5 seasons she was she ended up kind of winging it with Clark, and it just became like that same kind of character. And then she got to challenge herself more as an actor with Josephine, who, you know, had this very different personality. If you've seen the show, it's still her. It's like a different character that's in her body, essentially. So she still got to act the role, but, you know, with this different personality inside the body. If that makes sense. If you've seen the show, you would know. know. But yeah, as I said, just two lovely people. Was happy to meet them. Would definitely need some more of the 100 casts to come, especially the ones that have Funko Pops. And I was able to add another 2 signed Star Wars Funko Pops into the signed collection. First up here we have Finn, signed by John Boyega. This was the Underground Toys exclusive in the Stormtrooper outfit without the helmet. I was kind of like, I'm in an R-ing. Do I get this one or do I get the FN2187 with like the bloody like handprint? But this one was kind of easier to find. It was a bit cheaper as well. And I figured, you know, it's John Boyega's, okay, it's not like a super duper expensive head sculpt or anything, but it's still his head rather than a helmet, if that makes sense. But yeah, John's super cool. You know, extended like a kind of fist bump immediately. And I sort of just mentioned that, you know, it would have been so cool. Like there was to me, there was such a great opportunity for an ex-Stormtrooper storyline to come out better than they did. I didn't actually say this to him, but I've always thought that Bill Burr's 20-30 minutes in that one Mandalorian episode was like a better ex-Stormtrooper arc than, you know, John Boyega and Finn got across 3 whole movies, right, which is crazy. And he said, yeah, he would have loved to have done something like that, but he did actually say that the thing with Disney now, you never know if there's enough like clamor for it, you know, they'll eventually make it. I don't know if that kind of was more like a hopeful kind of trying to manifest something, or if there is some discussions. We know there's a lot still to be determined and stuff for them to tell us what's coming next with Star Wars, right? Which we'll probably won't learn fully until maybe 2027 with Star Wars Celebration, the 50th anniversary in California in April, I think, isn't it? But yeah, John, awesome to me. Again, no upcharges. Well, I think there were upcharges for like helmets and things like that, but Funko was his standard price. He did character names, both Finn and FN2187, so that was really cool. The only thing that was a little bit embarrassing, my paint pen leaked kind of all over his hand, and I had to apologize. He was cool with it, but yeah, that was just a little bit embarrassing. And then more specifically for the Mandalorian collection, we have Bo-Katan Kryze signed by Katie Sackhoff. I actually decided to go with the Chase variant with the helmet off. Not a particularly expensive Chase. I mean, they have done other kind of variants afterwards with no helmet. I guess I could have avoided the sticker. But yeah, Katie was pretty cool. It was kind of like an interesting meet with her. We went right at the end of the day on the Saturday. We actually had tickets booked for her for the Sunday, and we asked if we could change them up because there was kind of no one there. She was off just doing a quick photo shoot, and they were like, yeah, no problem. So we went right to the kind of head of the queue, right? Her agent then came out, who was a, maybe she still is an actress. I know she was in Babylon 5. I cannot remember her name. She was an absolute hoot to talk to, though. I think she was from New York, at least the accent. But yeah, she was telling us like things maybe she shouldn't have about how conventions work and pricing and things. I'm not going to go into detail here because it's kind of, I'm not sure it's stuff that should have really just been shared with typical fans. Even though I'm kind of used to how cons work, I kind of, you know, I have friends that work at conventions, and I've known how typical things may work in contracts here and there. But yeah, it's stuff that I'm not going to put out here on the internet, right? But we were chatting to her for a good 20 odd minutes because I think Casey then actually went and did a couple of private signings in the green room after her photo shoot finished, and she was like, gentlemen, thank you for your patience. And I was like, no, it was cool chatting with you. And then when Katie came along, we kind of moved things pretty quickly because her queue had built up since we were there. And she kind of did me and my brother at the same time because he actually just got a plaque signed to go with his Bo-Katan helmet. And yeah, I just pretty much said I was so happy that you got cast in the live action role because, of course, she originally did the voice in Clone Wars, and she said, of course, she was happy too. Yeah, she spoke with my brother because he's a big fan of her podcasts as well, and she was like, oh, thank you so much. But then there was kind of like this weird kind of interruption because the people then behind us were actually getting, I don't know what happened, if they hadn't paid for something in particular. It wasn't like really an argument with the agent, but it kind of distracted Katie enough that she kind of looked off to the side, and it kind of spoiled our interaction a little bit with her, but it wasn't her fault, nothing kind of negative, pardon me, at all. And yeah, she then looked back and said, oh, thank you so much for coming, guys. So yeah, it was just that kind of weird ending to it. that, yeah, I don't know. As I said, it didn't really spoil it, but it could have been a bit better. But that's nothing on Katie. And we're going to finish things up, guys, with my first ever signed South Park Funko Pop, Wendy Testerberger here, signed by the voice actor April Stewart. What's extra cool about this one, guys, the first ever one signed. So we got up to her table. Actually, let me talk about this first, because as you can see, she kind of went over the, I don't know, ridge, whatever you want to call that, which is a little bit my fault. So whenever I take these pops to comic conventions, I do flat pack them. I kind of mentioned it in a short I did like a week or so ago. And if I'm taking like 3 or 4 pops, I'll take them as whole like this. But yeah, if I'm taking more than like 5 or 6, I will definitely flat pack them all in a binder. Again, I cover that in that video I mentioned earlier, my definitive guide to getting your Funko Pop signed. But yeah, she was, once I brought it up, she was like, no way, I didn't even know they were out. And again, they're not out over here in the UK. I think I've seen Craig and Butters release over here, but I haven't seen any of the others. If you guys wanted to see them, there they are on the back. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen Craig and Butters release, but these 3 I haven't seen in stores or anywhere online. Again, I picked mine up from Pop Culture in Australia. They always seem to get stuff in super duper early compared to everyone else. But yeah, she hadn't seen it yet. I kind of felt like, maybe I should have taken the pop as a whole, because I kind of thought I may be one of the first ones to get one signed, maybe even the first, and I was like, should I have taken this pop as it was so she could at least see it? And if I had, I probably then wouldn't have had this kind of crossover, right? It doesn't bother me so much. It's just the fact that the signature goes over the side. And she also asked me, she was kind of like nervous, saying, this is the first one I've signed. What do I do? You know, especially with a paint pen and everything, because I took my own pen. So yeah, she was a little bit nervous, and I could have guided her to say maybe do it up here, but you know what, it's not the end of the world, and I'm just super happy to have a #1. It is the first kind of worldwide #1 I have. The only other one I had was Julius from Black Clover, signed by the voice actor Robert McCullum. It was the first one he'd signed outside of Europe, and he said it was within like the first 10 he'd signed, because the pop had just literally released when he came over here to the UK, but he'd done like a couple in the US. So yeah, it was super awesome to meet April. I mean, I'd love to meet Matt and Trey one day. South Park has been a huge part of my life. I'd say I grew up with it. It came out when I was like, well, 11, 12 years old. But yeah, going from those teenage years into the adult years, I've always loved it. Love the new season. It's just an hilarious show, one of my favorites. So to certainly meet some of the South Park people. Mona Marshall was there as well, the voice of Kyle's mum, because April also voices Stan's mum, and there was another character she voiced, Cartman's mum, I think, and then Mona Marshall also voiced Butter's mum. So they're kind of like the ladies of South Park, essentially, right? So it was awesome to meet them. But yeah, Matt and Trey, if those guys could ever I don't know if you get them, they're probably super duper busy, but that would be amazing. I do also have the complete South Park Funko Pop collection. I guess I should do a full-on review, because the last time I did it was about 3 or 4 years ago. We've had plenty of others since. And well, there we go, guys. That is my complete signed Funko Pop haul from Comic Con Liverpool. 11 new ones into the collection, and we do it all again next weekend at MCM Comic Con Birmingham. I'm not getting as much signed, but we will certainly be adding a few more to the collection, and then tons more conventions coming up next year. It's going to be expensive, but I would honestly have it no other way. I love getting my Funko Pops signed. Let me know in the comments section below if you guys attended Comic Con Liverpool. What did you get signed? Did you get some photo ops? Did you have a good time? Otherwise, I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to watch this video. If you did enjoy it, please do give us a thumbs up, hit that like button, it really does help. Make sure to check out some of our other content at the links you see now on your screen. Otherwise, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace out, nerds!